Hello and welcome. Today's video features 3D figures. And this was your homework, and it says on your own paper to draw the top, front, and side views for figures A through F. On your first page, you're given the 6 figures, and on the following 2 pages, I actually gave you the paper to make it a little easier to draw your pictures, to draw your two-dimensional shading from the 3D that you see. I've kind of split the screen in half here to make it a little easier for you to see from the picture, the 3D model, to making our 2D representation. So let's go ahead and get started. The front view, which is what we have first over here, our front view is going to be what is facing you. Okay, so the faces that look at you, that's your front view. So we're going to mark them. 1 in the first column. We have 2, and remember, we can't tell depth. We just know we have 2 faces that look towards the front. And we have 2 in the third column. So over here, you would mark 1 in the first column, 2 high in the second column, and 2 high again, in the third column. See how those 2 match up? All right. If we want to go to our top view, which is what's next, we want to look from the bird's eye perspective, right? Like you're flying overhead and you're looking down. So all of the faces that you can see at the top are going to be what we mark. See, all these faces, I can see the top of them, so they get marked. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same. I have 3 faces in my first column, and now be careful with the second one. I have 2, but they're at the end. There's no block right here, so this stays empty, and I have 2 here. Then in my third column, I have 3. See how this represents the same top that you see over here? Alright, let's change our color one more time and look at our side view. Now the side view, remember, you go around the block. Your side view is over here. So it's all the pieces you can see a side of. Now in this first column, you can see the side over here, but it's being blocked by this. So if I'm standing in front of this block, I can't see what's behind it. So be careful not to mark this one. We're going to mark, this is going to be our first column. In the middle, we have our second column. And then finally, at the end here, we have it's 2 high. So in our third column, we're going to mark 3. Or in our third column, we're going to mark 2 high. So this is how you would do figure A. This is your front view, your top view, and your side view. Pause the movie, see if you can work it, shade everything correctly, and then move on. Okay, let's look at figure B. Again, we're going to start with our front view. So that is what you can see right here. So I can see 2 in my first column. And be careful, because I know you can see this guy back here because it's a 3D picture. But if I'm standing on the street looking at a building, I wouldn't be able to see this brick or this place behind because this one's blocking it. So your first column is just going to have 2 of them marked. Your second column is going to have 2 marked as well, because there's nothing blocking this one in the back. We're going to mark both these faces. And then in my third column, I have this guy here sticking out a little bit. So that's my front view. Now for my top view, again, it's like you're standing above the figure looking down. So you're going to have 1, and then there's a little guy back here, so don't forget about him. You have 2 right there, and then 3. Then you have the tops of these 2, and the tops of this little guy out here. So when you come over here to your top view, in your first column, you're going to have 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to have 2 here, and then 1 back here. And that's your top view. So again, if you were to take this and tilt this forward, you would have 3, 2, 1, which is what we're showing here. 3, 2, 1. Okay, finally we have our side view. That's going to be this way. And we have this guy here. 2 high in our first column, then 1, and then 2 high in our last column. So if I were to be able to turn this, I could see 2, then 1 in the middle, and then 2 on the other end. Does that make sense? Okay? I know it's hard for some of you guys being able to rotate this picture in your mind, but trying for the top view, spin it towards you. What would it look like? It would look like 3, then 2, then 1. On the side, if I were again to spin it, it would be 1, then 2, or I'm sorry, 2, then 1, then 2 more. Alright, pause the video, make sure you have it shaded in correctly. Okay, let's look at figure C. Again, let's start with our front view, and it faces you, so it goes this way. And you have this faces you, this faces you, and these guys. So you want to think about them since we have a little grid right here. You want to think about the columns. I have 2 in this first column. What I mean by column is if you come over here, I have 1, 2. So that's the first column. Then I just have 1 in the second column. I come over here, and I just mark 1. And then in my third column, I have 2 more. Okay? If I look from the top, I look down on it, I have 3 in my first column, 2 in my second column, and 1 in my third column. So if I were to tilt this forward, it would go 3, 2, 1. And you can draw it over here. 3, 2, 1. Does that make sense? 3, 2, 1. And finally with the last one, if I look at the side view, I would have the first column would be here, it would be a single. The second column would also be a single. And the third column I would have 2. And be careful, you don't want to mark this one because if I'm looking from the street, I would only be able to see this front. So I would have 1, then another one, and then 2 more. Okay? Alright, go ahead and pause it. Remember with these videos, you don't have to watch me do it. Why don't you go ahead and try it first, and then watch the video and see if I did the same thing you did. Okay, now we're going to look at figure D. Again, the piece that faces you is your front. So here, I have the front is right here. So this is pretty easy. 2 in the first column, 2 in the second column, 2 in the third column. So my front view is pretty easy. I've got a nice rectangle going 3 across and 2 high. Okay, let's look at it from the top. From the top, I can only see 3 pieces. I can't tell depth from the top. I can just see these 3 pieces up top. So 1, 2, 3. And then my side view, now see, you can't see it from this side, so we'll have to go to the other side and see that I have 2 high. 1, 2. So in my first column over here, I'm just going to draw 2 spaces. So that one should have been pretty simple for you. Nice, block put together. This is what, when we get to the next section, we call this a rectangular prism. Alright, go ahead and pause, fill in your spaces, and move on. Okay, now we're at figure E. This might look familiar to some of you. We had the 3D version of this that we built in class today. So now they're giving us the 3D version, and you need to draw the 2-dimensional picture from it. So we'll start with our front view, which is right here. It's what's looking at us. So we have 1 by itself, then 2, then 1. Looks like a little pattern here, right? Then 2, and then 1. And some of you told me today, because you had already had a chance to start on your homework, that this only has 4 rows. And how many do we need here? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5 rows. So you will need to go ahead, and I'm going to build it on mine as well. You will need a line here, an extra piece, to build the actual 5th column. So it's okay, you can build it on. Now remember, when you're taking this for a test or whatever, it'll have these pictures made for you. You won't have to actually make the picture. You will, however, have to pick out the correct picture. So we'll just build this extra section on for now. So to come back and do our front view, we have 1, then 2, and 1, then 2, and then 1 at the end. And that's our front view. That's what we're looking at. Okay, let's look at our top view. Here's our top view. So you just want to mark the pieces you can see. There is no extra block back here like there is in these other spots. So don't put something there that is not given to you. Don't just, oh, well, I just can't see it. No, that's not the way it works. The only time you can do that is, see how we have a second block up here? Yes, you can go ahead and figure out that there's a block underneath it. But we don't have to worry about that for drawing. So we're going to mark all of the faces that we can see from the top. And it looks like we'll need that 5th row again. We have 1, 2, 2, 2, and 1. That makes sense? So we're going to come over here. First, I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. There we go. So that I can draw that 5th spot. Okay. And we, let's go ahead and go, and we will draw our top view. And again, starting from this piece over here, that's by itself, we have 1 by itself at the bottom. Then we have 2, 2, 2 more, and then our last 2 at the end. Okay? Alright, finally let's look at the side view. And we could rotate this, right? If we could turn it so that our side view turns to look at us, or if we just walk around the block. Now this is what's looking at us. Again, technically you could not see these 2 back here because these front 2 would be blocking. So we would just have these 2, and then in the second column we would have those 2. So your side view is just going to be a nice little square right here of 2 by 2. And that's it for letter E. Go ahead and pause and make sure you have what I have. Okay, with our last figure, the figure itself is kind of turned a little bit. You see how we don't really have, if they didn't give us this word, we couldn't tell, is this the front or is this the front? So whenever you have like these edges are pointing at you, they should give you the word of what the front actually is so that you don't make the mistake. So in this case, here's our front, so let's go ahead and mark that. So we're looking at it this way for our front view. So we're going to mark all the pieces that are facing us if we're standing right in front of that word. Okay, so in the first column we're going to have 2. Now notice down here we don't have any blocks, right? The blocks are on top. So we're going to mark it in the second column. And then we have 2 at the end. So be careful. You know, they can build stuff where they just connect it on the top. If the block is not drawn, you cannot assume that it's there. Leave it blank. Alright, next let's look at our top view. And again, a top view is if you're standing above it and looking down, you want all the faces that you can see. Now this is going to be our first column, because remember, everything's kind of tilted a little bit since this is our front. So this would be our first column over here. Those 3. That's where that would match up. You see that? And then we have a few columns here of 2. So then we're going to keep on extending across 1, 2, 3 more columns of 2. And you can count the blocks, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in this row. So when I come over here to my top view, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should only have 4 blocks, no more, no less. If you have more or less, you've done something wrong. That's your clue. Alright, finally let's go to the side view, because that's just a little tricky. So again, you're going to come around the block and come over here and look at it this way. And a bunch of you, I'm betting, are going to say, oh, I have 4. That was easy. But look over here. What's over here? Oh yeah, we have this tricky guy right back there. That's a side piece. Don't laugh, it is. This is a side piece that if I were standing on this street right here, I could see that. There's nothing blocking it. There's no other blocks in front of it. So when I come over here to draw it, I am going to have these 4, right? But then at the second level, I'm going to need to put this 3rd guy that's back here. So just be careful of this 3rd guy that's sticking out. This 3rd guy is the same block as this 3rd guy up here when you tilt it. And that's all there is from going from a 3D figure to a 2D drawing. Make sure that you got all your answers correct and everything shaded in properly. Put your name at the top of the paper and turn it in. Thanks, guys.